Today we'll be taking a very short look at Batman Arkham Knight on the Potato Masher. In case you don't know, the Potato Masher is a project of the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast. It's a $350 PC custom built almost 1 year ago, and is designed to compete against the PS4 for the remainder of its life cycle. The goal is not to pick on consoles or prove that they are inferior, but to show that PC gaming can be a great alternative to console gaming without spending a ton of money. If you want more information, check the description for a link to the original build video. You can also click the links on screen to check out Casual Shenanigans or the FAQ video if you have any questions about the project. Normally, I'd be showing comparison footage of the PS4 and PC versions of the game, and talking about the relative strengths and weaknesses of each platform and how they do. But this video will be a little abnormal. Arkham Knight was a huge disappointment when it originally released on the PC earlier this year. There were so many technical errors that the game was almost unplayable for most people. The PC port was rushed and clearly unfinished, so much so that the game was removed from stores for several months so it could be fixed. Well, the fixed version is out now, and is unfortunately still quite broken. Most prevalent is a memory leak that causes stutters and crashes for computers with average or low amounts of system memory. Of course, the Potato Masher falls into this category. It has 4 GB of RAM, which has been fine for almost every game we've tested. The only games that haven't worked are Battlefield 4, which also had a bad memory leak, Arkham Knight, and one more game that you will see very soon. So how does Arkham Knight run? Well, if this tells you anything, up until now in the video you've been watching PS4 footage. Anyone who has been following the sad story of Arkham Knight on the PC won't be surprised, but the game flat out does not work on the Potato Masher. It stutters and freezes so much that it's like watching a slideshow. I didn't want to just give up there though. Like I mentioned earlier, the Potato Masher doesn't meet the minimum RAM requirements for the game, so I can't really blame it if it doesn't run, right? Well, not exactly. The minimum requirement is 6 gigs. I threw another 4 gigs of memory into the Potato Masher, so I had 8 gigs total, and I started the game again. For some reason, I couldn't get the performance overlay to pop up, so I'll just tab out so you can see it does indeed have 8 GB of RAM right now. With 8 GB of RAM, the game worked fine for a few minutes, but then the stuttering started again. It was definitely not nearly as bad as before, but the game doesn't work with 2 GB more RAM than the minimum requirement. Just to make sure that the RAM was the only problem, I added another 8 GB, so the Potato Masher was running with 16 GB of RAM. The game worked much better. On low, maintaining 30 FPS at 1080p was very easy on the Potato Masher. I didn't do extensive graphics testing, but very high caused quite a few dips below 30 FPS, so medium or high is probably where the best experience can be had. That's still a little disappointing, but the game did actually work. Low seemed to be close or a little worse than the PS4 version, so I assumed that if the game wasn't broken, the two versions would be pretty close. The memory usage barely went above 8 GB, so it's possible that 8 GB of RAM might work for some people, or with some modifications to the game's .ini file. I have strong doubts that 6 GB would work for anybody. So, what can we learn from all of this? I have every confidence that if the memory leaks were fixed, the Potato Masher is powerful enough to play the game very well. Since that's not the case right now, and Warner Brothers doesn't seem to have any plans to finish the game, I can't test it further. Obviously, if you want to play the game and you don't have 16 GB of RAM, get the PS4 version. It runs great and the game is well worth playing. I'd probably get the PS4 version no matter what, to help send the message to developers that terrible PC ports are unacceptable and not worth paying for. I know this video is a little different from normal, but the Potato Masher is an experiment, and I think it's important to highlight when it isn't capable of playing a game properly. In this case, the game is the issue, not the computer. But to the consumer, all that means is they can't play it. There are a few more special videos coming out in the next few days that will go into more detail on this, but for now, thanks for watching and have a great day.